I made this video because I am a multifaceted person, guys. I love singing, I love dancing, I love painting and writing and editing videos, making videos. I love filming. I love everything that is art. I feel like art is my prime, like my existence. Like, I'm here to tell stories and teach and bring forth community. And sometimes it is confusing, or not necessarily hard, but it's more hard than it should be when I sometimes feel like I have to stick to a specific style, or my consistency is questionable. Like, I grow and change, like, you know what I'm saying? And so do my styles, and I feel like it hinders my growth as an artist, especially like being an art major, like in school. Not every art teacher does this, but a lot of art teachers, I'm very aware that a lot of art teachers out there in the world that are very good. I'm not saying art school is bad, but there are a lot of art professors that still apply like the very systematic way of teaching, and they apply it to art, and it's just not applicable, and it has hindered my growth personally. Like, there's some teachers I've had tremendous growth, and then I've had teachers where I didn't really grow at all because I was just trying to impress the teacher and not really develop and change, like, and do what works for me. And what I'm realizing is that I enjoy multiple things, and as resources grow, as tools grow, I feel like it's going to be so much more fun to create if I feel more accepted to do so in ways that aren't predictable or recognizable. And I want to really just do whatever I want with art, because that's what it's for. And I don't understand all the hoorah around like having a specific style. Like, I understand, you know, when you think of an artist, you think of their style, you think of that painting. Like, I completely understand that. I understand the benefits of it, but I'm also saying that staying in that box can hinder your growth. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a style or that you should have a style, because there's no rules to anything. There's no rules to life. There's no rules to how you want to do anything. And that's exactly what I'm saying. You can have a style, but you can also not have a style. You shouldn't feel bad about either or, but you have to acknowledge that if you're in either one of those categories, if you've stopped the self-exploration and the curiosity, and you stop picking up different tools to see what they do and see how they can enhance or evolve your art, then you're kind of just on like a hamster wheel, which is completely okay. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like at this time in life, this is like the first generation to really see so many art tools and products be presented to us in such a short amount of time. Like, within thousands of years, we've seen us go from painting on caves with our fingers and lamps to Cricut machines, sewing machines, you know, paint tools, like crazy stuff that I have yet to discover. And it's a shame to feel like there are some tools that I feel like I can't add into my process because it might hinder my recognizability, or might hinder like my growth, and when it's really the opposite. So I just want to encourage all my multifaceted people to dive deeper into what intrigues them and follow their excitement and do what ignites them. There's been so many times where I wanted to do something, or like do something different in my art, but I'm like, or different in the way I show up on social media, and I'm like, no, you can't do that because your audience is expecting you to show up this way. And that's what I feel like happens when you get deeper into this industry, or like this career path that you chose. You kind of start feeling like you have to stay the same as how you started. And I see it happen with artists, like musical artists, all the time. And it's so easy to happen with musical artists all the time because they they want to continue to make money, or they believe that the only way they can make money with their art is if they stick to what was making them the most art. And I feel like that takes away from being a true artist. At that point, you're just a performer, and that is okay to just be a performer, but it's hard to blend performance with growth when you have a specific audience that wants this specific thing, but you want to show up this way, if that makes sense. And I just want people to not feel discouraged about having multiple passions as well, because all of those different passions are yours for a reason, and it's up to you to decide how you want to blend it all together and make it all like cohesive for you, and decide like what consistency looks like for you. And I'm just gonna throw out some names like of some artists that I've seen really evolve over the years, and I don't care who likes them, who doesn't like them. This is just an example. Lil Uzi, prime example. He started off one way, and now you see like he's grown and changed. Playboy Cardi's grown and changed. Janae Aiko's grown and changed. Her music is still very can be kind of toxic sometimes, but my girl has, along with her life and her experiences, she has kind of stuck to the same like style. Like she's always been R&B, but her messages are completely different. Sometimes she goes from like F this, F you, like I have hitters that can kid you, and then she's making songs about like peace and tranquility and I don't want revenge and I'm in love, but she was just making songs, you know what I'm saying? But if she had felt like she had to show up that way forever, she would have never grown into like the artist she is now. She would have grown as a person outside of that. But imagine if she came to her practices and her art to express herself, and she couldn't even really express herself how she wanted to because her audience was expecting her to show up how she was 5-10 years ago. Just because you're not growing as a person does not mean your artist or your favorite artist isn't. And I feel like we have to see ourselves that way as well. So just because your audience isn't growing or changing or evolving, you have to realize that it's okay to lose people at the cost of gaining new people. It is okay to lose 100 fans in the cost of new 50 fans that understand your message now and who you are now and how you're showing up. I wonder if it's fear or a lack of curiosity. Perhaps it's the fact that we as artists, as creative and excited as we may be, we are still human. By this I mean we are just as moldable as we are stiff. As flesh and bone must coexist, so must our secret desires to be understood, recognized, and sought after, along with our sense of self and dopamine disguised as confidence. Sometimes as humans we camouflage ourselves, drowning in our own aesthetics, no being to be found, no more self-discovery. But why? A sense of safety in our styles, in our environment, and in our expressions that are meant to be free but are inevitably influenced and catered to society. But I think there's beauty in the multifaceted artist that craves everything but conformity. There is so much self-warranted confusion amongst the clarity that is also a tragically beautiful mystery. Does anybody really stay recognizable as they grow older? No. So why do I have to limit my ever-evolving experience to one mode of expression? It's not realistic. Maybe back then, when our ancestors ventured to caves to use walls and canvases and study nothing but nature and animals, and used the earth's gifts to birth true creativity, art without technology. They had limited resources and limited forms of communication, but they still instinctively sought art solely to tell, not impress. The language of art today allows us to decode our feelings, experiences, and the stories inside that we so desperately seek to tell through many mediums of art, and also allows us to create income from it as well, which plays a big factor in how we show up. I love mixed media. I love unpredictability and not having to conform. That's why I create, to bring forth what I want to see in the world and the stories that I want to tell with what I have access to. I cannot limit myself by staying in one style or medium after I've perfected it. I'm the kind of person to get it good and then learn something else or evolve it and add stuff. We have too much access to too many supplies and resources to not enhance or evolve our recognizable style as artists. That includes the way we live and interact, all which changes as technology and resources expand, and more importantly, as our consciousness grows and our belief in what's possible to create. I feel like the collective idea that we have to have a specific style or a secure way of doing things comes from the way we've experienced life in other systems. But there's no system to creation or art, just all of you, your skills, and whatever supplies you have access to. Not even always your ability to tell a story, but simply to bring forth more beauty, confusion, and mystique into a world that wants us to be the opposite. Art used to be more fun than this, but I'm making it fun for me again. Through true freedom of expression, I shall use whatever tools and resources I have access to create and share whatever intrigues me, whatever I want to. The impact is so different when I allow myself to play and learn beyond my predictability. Let's keep in mind that I'm also young and have many, many years of creation ahead of me. My style will change and evolve, and I'm learning to embrace that. I don't want to stay in a box when I turn to art to do the exact opposite. In the wise words of Julia Cameron, because I actually just started reading The Artist's Way, and what's crazy is I've been recommended this book like 6 months ago, and I listened to the audiobook, but then I realized it was like a course, so I never really started it. And then I just bought it like a week ago because someone else told me to get it again, and I kept seeing it on like YouTube, and then I was seeing it everywhere, and I was like, you know what, that's a sign. So I was like, let's go ahead and get that book. And of course, there's so much inspiration in there. But anyways, in the wise words of Julia Cameron, do not do what you should do. Spiritual sit-ups like reading a dull but recommended critical text. Do what intrigues you. Explore what interests you. Think mystery, not mastery. A mystery draws us in, leads us on, lures us. And she was talking about how a lot of blocked artists see art as a duty. And I feel like part of this comes from us overthinking and possibly overplaying our role, and also trying to adopt the way we live life systematically, like with our jobs and everything else. We try to kind of fit that also into our art process or our creative process, and it really should be the complete opposite of that. As if there is a specific, relatable, understandable, marketable, and repetitive way we have to show up to our mediums. All I'm saying is our style has nothing to do with us. Your life is the art in motion, your medium's the device, which is full of confusion, mistakes, beauty, tragedy, etc. Nothing close to perfection. And what if we all decided to just show up this way and let the audience do the rest? I've been spending more time alone, less on my phone and more in my body, and I'm realizing how programmed we are to think creativity has to be perfectly curated to be deemed profitable or worthy. And this has led to naturally inspired people ignoring their gifts out of fear of judgment from themselves and from people that already have an idea of what good art and creativity looks like to them. And this isn't anybody's fault. Really, I can't even blame us multifaceted artists for feeling like we've been forced to put ourselves in a box. It's kind of just a natural response to life now, especially like growing up, and when you were a kid they told you to get in a single file line and sit at your desk and be still, and all you wanted to do was draw and create, and it's like, oh, if you do it this way then you'll get a star. But anyways, that's a video for another time. Singing shows, competitions, billboards, ranks, magazines, all beneficial in putting spotlights on truly prolific creatives that have made their art their living wage or newsworthy. But what about the people that are prolific yet inconsistent with how they show up? They are largely ignored as still finding their voice or just not there yet. What if we drop the standards and the assumptions? Everybody deserves to create, and no, it doesn't have to make you money or even be seen by anyone but you to be considered good. A lot of creatives that consider themselves good only do so because they fit into a niche or aesthetic or style that is already popular. I know that no idea is new. I'm very aware that we are all collectively co-creating, but what if more of us did it consciously, without the cookie cutters and band-aids or pats on the back at the Christmas dinner table because one of your videos went viral, but you know you've been creating for years and nobody cared to acknowledge it until the world did, without the constant self-doubt when you finish a project and feel proud, so you share it without appreciating it first, and you don't get the reactions you wanted, so now you hate it, without the fear of being disliked when you start doing these things slightly different than how people expect you to. The truth is, none of us really want to be in a box, and we know that we put ourselves there, but it feels safe. It's all we know, and it won't betray us. But the secret is that it really is. Those same four walls with the same art on it that you reproduce over and over again because people told you it looks good once and you never engaged in self-discovery or true creativity and curiosity since. The real truth is that you're scared because you know deep down it doesn't matter, but you still hold on to the idea that you have to show up how society wants you to. I am choosing to kill perfectionism, date crazy, marry wonder, explore creativity, and die with confusion. That is what I typed on my iPad. So that's all I wanted to say. Keep on exploring, keep on creating, and F the rules. Like, there's no rules, y'all. That's all I had to say though. Y'all have a blessed day.